Hey guys, it's Darwin. So, now that I am done with my through hike of the Pinhoti Trail, it's time to get back to talking about gear for the PCT, especially since I have like 2 weeks left until I hit the trail. So today we are talking about the first 700 miles of the PCT and specifically gear that I'll be carrying to help protect me from the sun. Alright, so as most of you know, I am no stranger to the desert. I've been living in the Southwest for about 3 years now, from New Mexico to Arizona to now residing in Southern California here in Joshua Tree. So I do a lot of desert hiking. Now, in those 3 years, I figured out things that work for me, things that don't work for me, and things that I just need every single time I go out into a harsh environment like the desert. Now, the first 700 miles of the PCT is pretty much all desert, so there's definitely gear that I will need in that first 700 miles to make sure that I'm comfortable, I'm not getting overheated, and not getting harsh exposure from the sun. So first up is my favorite hiking shirt in the world, and I wear it when I'm not in the desert, and that is the Columbia Silver Ridge Light. Now, you guys will see this shirt in a ton of my videos. It made my top 10 favorite gear of 2017 list. Essentially what it is it's a long sleeve shirt that is made of a UPF material. Now, I believe they call it Omni Shade, but you can break it down to its UPF 40. It has back vents in it, so it helps wick away sweat and keep a nice flow to where I'm not sweating to death when I'm in the sun. It is a long sleeve shirt, so I can roll the sleeves down to help protect my ink or roll them up whenever I'm not really worried about it. And it's just overall a great hiking shirt. Now, to be fair, this is a piece of gear that I'll be wearing all the way to Canada, but my Columbia Silver Ridge Light shirt only comes in at 6.8 ounces for a medium. So kind of heavy for a hiking shirt, but with all of the features of it, it being the one shirt that I have to wear for the entire trail, great sun protection, it breathes really good. It is definitely going to be my shirt for the first 700 miles and for all of the PCT. Next up is a piece of gear that I was debating for a while, switching out. You guys know I love my buff. I have had my one dark green original buff for years and years and years. It's been with me on every trail. I talk about it a lot. It's one of my favorite pieces of gear, but it is getting wore out. Now, what I typically do when I'm hiking in the desert is if my ears start getting hot and burnt from the sun or the back of my neck, I'll take my buff and I'll pull it up over my head to help give me a little bit more protection. So I figured I'm already doing that anyways. I better start looking at a UV buff. So I finally picked it up and I got a UV protection buff. Now, the great thing is it looks exactly like my old buff, so I don't have to get too sad when I don't have my other one. Now, the UV buffs are made out of a CoolMax material, so it is UPF. I don't exactly know what the UPF rating of that is. Couldn't find that on Buff's website, but they say that it blocks out 95% of UV rays. So this is definitely going to be a lot better than my older buff that was just a piece of fabric. Now, what I will typically do with this is, because I am still wearing a mesh back hat, I'll take this and tuck it up under my hat to create some protection all the way around my head to help give me shade and protect my ears and my neck from the rays of the sun. The UV buff weighs in at 1.5 ounces and it's a buff. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's coming with me. All right, the next piece of gear is one that I've debated for about 2 years on picking up, and I finally decided to do it since I'll be living in the desert for 700 miles, and that is sun gloves. So the thing that I found over the last 3 years of hiking in the desert is because I do use trekking poles and my hands are constantly out like this, at the end of the day or when I get home, the tops of my hands and my fingers and my wrist are always burnt to a crisp. Now, working with my hands a lot, obviously, you know, it just hurts. It hurts getting sunburned anywhere, but it definitely hurts on the top of your hand and on your wrist. So I finally decided to pick up a pair of these UV resistant hiking gloves. Now, the ones that I picked up are made by Outdoor Research, and they are the Spectrum ActiveICE Fingerless Sun Gloves. Outdoor Research, that is way too long of a name for a product. come up with something a little snazzier than that. Anyways, you'll notice that they are fingerless because whenever you are hiking with trekking poles, really all you need to protect is the top of your hand, your wrist, and then the tops of your fingers and your thumb. So they're really good for that. And the cool thing is they're made out of this material called ActiveICE, which has some sort of chemical in it that actually cools your skin whenever you get hot. So when my palms are sweating, the air will actually hit that, ActiveICE it, and it will cool down my hand and act like little air conditioners. It's the other reason why they made the bottom of it a little longer to where it goes on your wrist. Because as some of you might know, if you're hot outside and you take ice or water and you put it on your wrist, it can definitely help bring down your core temperature. So the great thing about these is they're like little air conditioners while I'm hiking. They have some grip in the hand to help me grab onto my trekking poles a little bit better to where my hands aren't getting sweaty and they're slipping around and giving me blisters. And the most important thing is they are made out of a UPF 50+ material, so they're definitely going to keep that sun and those harsh rays off of my fingers, my thumb, my wrist, and the top of my hand. Now they are insanely light, and the entire pair only weighs 0.7 ounces. So 0.7 ounces, you can kind of wad them up, put them wherever. I can put them in my pocket, so they're definitely coming with me in those first 700 miles, and who knows, they might stay with me all the way till Canada. The next piece of gear that I'll be carrying in that first 700 miles of the PCT is one that every desert hiker knows is a must-have when you're spending a lot of miles in the desert, and that is a sun umbrella. So, if you're not familiar with sun umbrellas, essentially what it is it's an umbrella, but the outside of it is coated in kind of like a silvery mylar material that whenever you're holding it and hiking, it actually bounces the rays back towards the sun. Now, sometimes when you're in the desert, you can't always find little shady spots like this. Sometimes you're just out in the elements and the sun can really put a beating down on you. So the great thing about carrying a sun umbrella is pretty much any time during the day, you can create your own shade. Now, about a year ago, I did a full review on this sun umbrella. If you guys want to check that out, I'll put a link up here in the corner. But this is the 6 Moons Design Silver Shadow. Now, little disclaimer, whether it's 6 Moons Design or Z-Packs or the old Go Light umbrellas, they're all pretty much made by the same company, just every company puts their own name on it. I believe the company's called like Light Flex, so you can find them on Amazon as well. And it's pretty light. Mine weighs in at 8 ounces, and I'm pretty sure that's pretty universal. I think all of these umbrellas, especially because they're made by the same people, all weigh in at 8 ounces, so not too shabby for something that helps you create your own shade when you're in the desert. All right, the next 2 pieces of gear are pieces of gear that I get tons of questions about, and I, for some reason, always seem to neglect when I'm hiking in the desert. But again, because I'll be hiking for 700 miles, I'm definitely bringing with me. The first piece of gear is a pair of sunglasses. For some reason, I just never carry sunglasses. I'm one of those people that just deals with the sun glare. I usually wear a hat, so I have a little bit of protection from it, but I squint a lot, and it's not good to squint. So I finally decided to pick up a pair of sunglasses. These are a pair of Tifosi sunglasses. I can't really tell you what model they are. They look pretty snazzy. But I actually took them to my eye doctor and had them make prescription lenses for them. So these are polarized lenses. Being out in the desert that long, I want to make sure that my retinas are not getting burnt out of my skull. So these will be coming with me along with a little carrying case that I can put my other glasses in when I'm wearing these. And the pair of glasses and the little bag only weighs 1.3 ounces. So definitely worth protecting my eyes, and I'm sure I'll be taking these all the way to Canada with me as long as I don't break them or horrifically scratch the crap out of them. All right, and then the last piece of gear is something that I never, ever bring, and it's finally time that I change my ways, and that is sunscreen. So, as most of you might know from last year on my section hike of the Continental Divide Trail, I didn't use any sunscreen. I went out in shorts and my legs got burnt like crazy. Really, the only thing that ever gets burnt on me when I'm hiking in the desert are my legs if I go out and I'm super white, which I'm not this year, and my ears and my nose. So I will be carrying a small thing of SPF 50 sunscreen. This is the Joshua Tree SunStick, so it is all natural. It's got a lot of zinc in it, but I'm mainly going to be carrying it to put on my nose, on my ears, and on my tattoos. I have a lot of tattoos on my legs and on my arms, and I want to make sure that I protect that ink because, you know, tattoos are expensive and I like them. So I'm going to be protecting those. I'm going to be finally bringing some sunscreen. I like this stuff quite a bit. It's funny enough, it is Joshua Tree sunscreen. I got it here in Joshua Tree, but it's handcrafted in Michigan. Thanks, Michigan. All right, guys, so that's it. That's all the extra gear that I'll be carrying for that first 700 miles of the PCT in the desert. I'm still not going to bring pants. I don't like hiking in pants. I hiked a little bit in pants out on the CDT last April. Couldn't stand it. So I will be hiking in shorts. However, I have a pretty good base tan right now, so the sun shouldn't affect me too much. Plus, I do have my sunscreen if I do want to put it on my knees or on my tattoos or something. And then I also have my tights and wind pants just in case I do need some sort of covering on my legs. I will have those. What is some gear that you always carry with you when you hike in the desert? Are you planning on through hiking the PCT? What's some gear that you're thinking about bringing in that first 700 miles? Leave me something in the comment box below and let me know your thoughts. If you haven't had a chance yet, go over and check me out on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of new photos lately of some of the things that Snuggles and I have going on throughout the week, plus some pictures from some past hikes. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.